My parents sold my dead wife's belongings and shoved my sons into the basement so my golden child brother's son could have their bedroom. I gave them 14 days. Then I brought the receipts. I'm not really the type to write stuff online, but I need to get this off my chest before I explode. I, Alec, 35 male, widowed. I got two boys, Dylan, 10 male, and Micah, 7 male. My wife, Elise, passed away 5 years ago. Cancer. Sucks even typing that. Since then, everything I've done has been about keeping it together for them. I work full-time as a lawyer. Nothing flashy, just grinding. We live in the house I bought, a little two-story place with a busted fence and a yard that always needs mowing. But it's ours. Or it was. Until my so-called family started treating it like a damn free-for-all. 2 years ago, I let my parents, Russell and Marianne, move in. They said they were broke after Dad's investment portfolio turned out to be a bunch of junk crypto coins and a sketchy retirement scheme. I didn't ask too many questions. They're my parents. They were getting older. I figured having them close might help with the boys too, maybe ease some of the pressure. Dumb. Dumb as hell. Then came my brother Travis, fresh off a divorce and full of plans to turn his life around. He had his son, Logan, with him, same age as Micah. Travis said he just needed a few months to get his footing. It's been over a year. Footing still missing. Anyway, Friday happened. I'd had a brutal day at work. Depositions stacked on each other, plus one of the new guys completely flubbed a filing, and I had to stay late cleaning up the mess. So when I pulled into the driveway around 8 p.m., all I wanted was to crash on the couch, maybe microwave something terrible and hang with the boys. But the house felt weird, quiet, which is never a good sign when you've got two kids and a cousin running around. I dropped my bag, called out, "Dylan? Micah?" And nothing. Usually at least Micah comes barreling around the corner. He's a human tornado. But there was nothing. I went upstairs thinking maybe they were watching something in their room. Instead, I ran into my mom, Marianne, standing in the hallway with this fake smile like she'd just won a prize at church bingo. "Oh, hey," she said, all chipper. "We made some little changes while you were at work." That sentence hit my gut like I swallowed a rock. I blinked. "What changes?" She glanced at one of the doors. "Well, Logan really needed a space that let him focus. He's had a tough year with everything, so we gave him Dylan's old room and moved the boys downstairs." I swear, my brain short-circuited. I just stared at her. "You put my sons in the basement?" I said real slow, like maybe I misheard. "It's not that bad down there," she chirped. "We cleaned a bit and set up some mattresses. It's cozy." Cozy, my ass. I didn't say another word to her. I just walked past and straight to the basement stairs. It's an unfinished space. Damp, smells weird no matter how many dehumidifiers you throw at it. Boxes piled up. Old furniture we never threw out. Definitely not somewhere any kid should be sleeping, let alone after losing their mom. And there they were. Micah was curled up on a beat-up mattress, hugging a pillow, tears just rolling silently down his face. Dylan sat nearby, trying to act tough, but his eyes were all red too. When they saw me, Micah sat up. "Dad," he said, voice small. "They said Logan needs a better room, that he's more important." My chest actually hurt, like real physical pain. I crouched down next to them, gave each a hug, didn't say much yet because I was trying real hard not to lose my crap in front of them. I pulled back, looked at both of them, and smiled. Like not a big one, but just enough to make it seem like things were going to be okay. "Pack your stuff," I said. "We're going to fix this." Micah sniffled. "Are we moving?" I shook my head. "No, buddy. They are." Dylan gave me this look like he wasn't sure if I meant it. I nodded at him, and his shoulders dropped a little like he could breathe again. I went back upstairs. And I'll be honest, rage doesn't even describe it. I wasn't even yelling. I was too past that. I was cold, focused. I walked into the living room, and there's Travis on the recliner like he owns the place. Logan sitting on the rug, playing on a tablet with headphones in. Russell was reading some news on his phone, and Marianne came floating in after me like she didn't just exile two grieving kids to a glorified storage closet. "This a joke?" I said, not even trying to hide the disgust in my voice. "You moved my kids into the basement?" Travis didn't even look up. "It's just a room, man. Logan needs a stable environment." "Just a room?" I snapped. "This is their home, not yours, not Logan's. My sons lost their mother, and you send them into a damn basement like they're old furniture?" That finally got Russell's attention. He stood up, all puffed up like he was going to say something wise. "Watch your tone," he barked. "We're your parents." "And I let you live here," I shot back. "For free. But that ends now." I pulled out my phone, tapped Sarah's name. She's a lawyer friend from work. Not the same kind of lawyer I am, but sharp as hell. I wasn't going to drag this out. I just needed her on board. Hey, need you to come over tomorrow. It's urgent, I said. Then hung up. I turned back to them and said it clear as day. You have 14 days to get out. Marianne gasped. What? You can't be serious. This is our home now. No, I said. It's mine. Always has been. You just forgot. She started blubbering some crap about how I'm tearing the family apart, but I wasn't listening anymore. I walked back to the boys, helped them move their stuff back up temporarily into my room, and we ordered pizza. Micah told me some terrible joke about a chicken and a turtle racing. Dylan challenged me to FIFA. I let him win. Maybe. For a few hours, we felt like us again. But deep down, I knew this wasn't over. Not even close. Looking back, I should have seen it coming way earlier. Like, I'm not trying to act like I'm dumb or anything, but when you're trying to keep everything from falling apart, you ignore stuff. You tell yourself it's nothing, just temporary, or they didn't mean it like that. You just want peace, especially when you're raising two kids on your own. But my parents, Russell and Marianne, have been playing favorites since day one, and I was never the one being favored. Travis, my older brother by 3 years, could do no wrong. Always had some excuse. Always had someone covering for him. Me? I was the backup. The responsible one. The one who should know better. Travis crashed Dad's truck when he was 17. He was drunk. Well, they never said that part out loud, but everyone knew, and they still let him off the hook. Told the cops it was a deer or some crap. My punishment at 17? I got grounded for missing curfew by 10 minutes after a school fundraiser. One time I got into a college program that Travis didn't even qualify for. I told Mom, thinking she'd be proud. She said, "Don't brag, honey. Travis is already stressed enough." I wasn't bragging. I just wanted a high five or something. It was always like that. Every win of mine got filtered through this weird lens of, how's Travis gonna feel? Like the family scoreboard only counted when it was about him. So yeah, growing up like that, you learn to stop talking about your wins. You learn to handle things on your own. Keep your head down. Get your own apartment. Build your own life. And that's what I did. Elise was the one who helped me finally break out of that crap. She saw me. Actually listened. When we had Dylan and Micah, I made a silent promise to myself. I would never, ever play favorites. They'd know they were equals. No better one. No easier one. Just my boys. But of course, my parents found a way to screw even that up. At first, when they moved in, it was all fine. I honestly thought maybe being around the boys would soften them up a bit. I mean, Dylan was smart as hell, quiet but sharp. Micah was the little firecracker, always running around with a cape on or duct taping cardboard boxes into spaceships. They were good kids. Good brothers. Logan, Travis's son, I don't hate the kid. He's innocent in all this. But my parents? They made it clear real quick who their main grandkid was. It started with the little things. Micah would draw some insane dinosaur battle scene and show it to Grandma. She'd smile politely, pat his head, then put it down and forget about it. Logan would scribble a stick figure with one leg, and Marianne would practically cry like he was Van Gogh. Oh wow, look at the detail. Logan, you are so talented. When Dylan aced his spelling test, Russell barely looked up from his crossword. When Logan remembered 3 capitals from a YouTube video, that boy's a genius, he'd say, like he just cracked national security codes. And it wasn't just compliments. It was attention. If Logan wanted to play a board game, they'd clear the table, light candles, make it a whole event. If Dylan asked for help building his Lego robot, later, sweetie, Grandma's tired. Micah came to me once and asked if Grandma didn't like him. I told him, of course she does. But I could see it in his eyes. He already knew the truth. And that truth, it burned me. Because that's what I felt like growing up. That exact question. And don't even get me started on gifts. Last Christmas, they got Logan a tablet. An actual new one. Wrapped up with a bow and a freaking, "We're proud of you" note inside. Dylan got socks. Micah got some off-brand building blocks that weren't even compatible with Legos. You ever see a 7-year-old pretend he's not disappointed? It's brutal. I talked to Marianne about it afterward. Tried to be subtle. Told her I noticed the boys were feeling left out sometimes. She brushed it off like nothing. Oh, you're overthinking things. You know how close I am with Travis. Yeah, I do. Travis, the one who disappeared for 2 years after his divorce and suddenly shows up needing a place to stay. And now he's king of the damn castle. And it's not like he even pulls his weight around here. Doesn't cook, doesn't clean. Always working on something vague. Business ideas, logo designs, branding strategies, whatever that even means. Meanwhile, Logan runs around here like the house is his personal trampoline park. I don't even blame him anymore. He's just feeding off what he sees. Everyone treats him like a prince. Why wouldn't he act like one? And my boys? Micah's been quieter lately. He doesn't draw as much. Dylan keeps his door shut more. Barely talks at dinner. I keep trying to pull them back in. Remind them they matter. But it's hard when the people in your own house are pushing them out without even saying a word. The worst part? I let it go for too long. I saw the signs. I saw the favoritism creeping in, just like when I was their age. And I didn't stop it. I was too tired, too focused on making sure everyone had food, laundry, school rides, work deadlines, bills. I was keeping the machine running, but the gears underneath were rusting out. And now we're here. Basement mattresses, hand-me-down toys, second-place grandkids. I can't undo the past, but I'm damn sure not going to repeat it. I lived with that shadow for most of my life. My boys won't. Next step's the legal part. Sarah's digging into the situation, checking if my folks or Travis have any angle they think they can play to stay longer. But honestly, I don't care how attached they feel to this place. It's not theirs. This house wasn't built for favoritism. It was built for healing, for family, real family. And if I've got to tear that fake version down brick by brick, I will. So, after I told them they had 14 days, the house turned into this weird, awkward bubble. Nobody spoke much, and when they did, it was all stiff and fake. Travis kept acting like he was busy, always typing on his laptop like he was solving global problems. Russell stayed holed up in the den with the door closed. Marianne would float around the kitchen like she was doing something helpful, but I knew she was just trying to eavesdrop. I wasn't in the mood for any of it. My priority was Dylan and Micah. I kept them close, took them out after work, brought dinner home so we didn't have to sit at that table. I could tell they were confused about everything. Dylan didn't ask many questions, but Micah did. He wanted to know when he could go back to his room, why Grandma was crying, what Logan did that was so special. And I didn't have all the answers yet. I just told him, "Soon, buddy. We're figuring things out." The next day, I started pulling together stuff Sarah might need: deed papers, utility bills, proof that I was the sole owner of the house. I was in the office digging through my old filing cabinet when I noticed the bottom drawer felt lighter than usual. I always kept a bunch of electronics in there: old phones, backup hard drives, a DSLR camera Elise used when she got into photography for a bit. Drawer was almost empty, just cords and an old broken Kindle. I checked my closet next. I had this small wooden box where I kept a few personal things: a pair of Elise's earrings, her recipe book, and my old watch. Not some Rolex or anything, but Elise gave it to me when I passed the bar. Not there. The earrings were missing too. I stood there for a second, trying to figure out if I'd moved it. I hadn't. I don't touch that box. Guess when you're juggling 2 kids, a full-time job, and emotional landmines, you stop taking inventory of every closet. Something was wrong, so I started checking around, slowly, quietly. Micah's tablet? Gone. I remembered setting it on the dining room shelf a few days ago to buy a new case for it. He hadn't asked for it lately because I'd been keeping them busy, but now it was nowhere. Dylan's old bike from the garage? Also missing. The one Elise picked out herself. He'd outgrown it, but we kept it for Micah later. Now it's just gone. I didn't want to go full paranoid, but I also didn't want to ignore this like I did the favoritism stuff. So I started listing everything I could remember owning that hadn't been touched in a while. Then I checked online. Craigslist first. Nothing popped right away. Then I tried Facebook Marketplace. And boom, there it was. My camera. Same model, same case, even the strap with Elise's initials stitched in. Seller name? Travis G. No profile picture, but I knew it was him. There was only one Travis in this house, and nobody else in the family uses Facebook for anything. I sat there for a minute, heart beating real weird. Not angry yet, just disgusted. I messaged Sarah right after, told her I needed to talk in person, that things were looking shady. She replied she'd swing by the next evening. Then I went back upstairs, past Marianne in the hallway. I asked her straight up, "Hey, have you seen my camera?" She blinked. "Oh, I think you let Travis borrow it a few months ago, didn't you?" "No," I said. "I didn't." She paused like she was trying to rewind the lie in her head. "Well, maybe you misplaced it. You've been under stress lately." That did it. The switch flipped. "I didn't misplace anything," I told her. "And if I find out you're covering for someone, you're leaving sooner than 14 days. She tried to do the soft eyes routine, like she used to when I was 10 and she forgot to pick me up from school. I wasn't 10 anymore. That night, after putting the boys to bed, I went into the garage. Noticed more stuff gone. A leaf blower I never even used. My old gaming console. The camping gear I bought but never got around to trying. Even the damn pressure washer was gone. We only used it once. I looked through my utility drawers and found 2 pawn shop receipts folded up under a screwdriver. Not mine. Both dated from the past 3 months. One had the model number of my DSLR. I took photos of them. Then I texted Sarah again. It's worse than we thought. Next morning, she came by early, before the kids were even up. I showed her the receipts, the listing, told her what I found missing. Sounds like they've been liquidating your house, she said. Quietly. Why? I asked. For what? They're not even living large. They're just here. Sarah looked at me like it was obvious. Travis. I frowned. What about him? She pulled out her tablet and showed me a business page. Some generic site called Vision Launchers, or something equally dumb. Travis's face was right there. Brand consultant, speaker, creative growth expert. You think they've been selling my stuff to fund this? I asked. I don't think, she said. I know. Turns out Travis had no business license, no LLC, just a Cash App and a Wix website. And now he had money for business cards, a ring light, even a cheap intern who helped edit videos. Probably paid an exposure. I didn't yell. I didn't flip out. I just sat there and thought about how long this had been going on. My parents, my actual blood, were selling things Elise left behind just to bankroll Travis pretending he was a CEO. And they didn't even bother to ask. Sarah put her hand on the folder. We build the case. Let me help you get them out clean. I'll prep the paperwork and track any legal footing they think they have. I nodded. Do it. After she left, I picked the boys up from school and took them out for burgers. No reason, just wanted to see them smile. I told them, you'll have your room back real soon. And I meant it. So, after finding the pawn shop receipts and the Facebook listing, I stopped trusting anything in that house. If I hadn't opened that drawer in the garage, I probably never would have noticed half of it missing. That's how quiet they were about it. Not clumsy, intentional, strategic. I don't know what's worse, being stolen from, or being stolen from so casually they thought I'd never notice. Sarah came by again that Monday evening, and I handed her the physical receipts and the screenshots of the online listings. She didn't even look surprised, just nodded, took out her laptop, and asked if I had any logins for shared bills, or accounts I might have forgotten about. I remembered something then. A while back, Travis had asked if he could borrow my email to sign up for a business discount thing, said it helped him get promo deals on printing websites or whatever. I didn't think much of it, just gave him my backup Gmail, the one I use for spam and junk. I pulled it up and started digging while Sarah typed notes. After about 10 minutes of random confirmations and store ads, I found it. A receipt from a storage unit company about 5 miles away. The name on the email was still mine, but the billing card was his. I clicked through the invoice. It had his full name and even listed the unit number. Gotcha, I muttered. Sarah leaned over, looked at the screen. You think there's more in there? I think that's where the stuff that didn't sell ended up. She nodded. We need eyes on it. Legally. Turns out that because the email account is in my name and the items likely belong to me, I had a valid claim. She made a few calls, and by the next afternoon, we were standing in front of a faded blue door labeled B16. The manager let us in with a court-approved letter Sarah typed up that morning. Honestly, she's scary efficient when she's pissed. The second the door rolled up, my stomach turned. There were plastic tubs and cardboard boxes stacked everywhere. Labels half torn off, some crushed from being stuffed too fast. Right near the front was a clear bin full of books and papers. On top was Elise's recipe binder. The cover was bent and stained, but her handwriting was still on every page. I didn't say anything, just took a photo and set it aside carefully. Sarah stood behind me and muttered, They're not just grifters, Alec. They're sentimental pickpockets. Next bin had toys. Micah's old plush dragon. Dylan's model spaceship that took him 3 weeks to build. Behind it, I saw my pressure washer, a busted Xbox I'd been meaning to repair, and even my old toolbox, the one with Elise's initials carved into the handle. All of it, stuffed in with no care. Sarah walked around slowly, snapping photos. You're going to have a solid case. This is enough to prove intent. In the far corner, there were 2 plastic crates with Travis's dumb logo slapped on the side, Vision something in bold letters, with some terrible modern font. Inside, printed business cards, stacks of flyers, tripod stands, ring lights, and unopened merchandise boxes. A microphone, a mini backdrop with his face on it. I stared at all of it. This wasn't just some oops, I borrowed it situation. This was planned. Coordinated. They stole what they didn't need and stored what they thought would be worth more later. They picked through our life, like it was a garage sale nobody told me was happening. I'm suing, I said out loud, more to myself than anyone. You should, Sarah replied, and you'll win. We spent the next hour documenting everything. She had the manager sign a report verifying the contents matched the ID attached to the unit. We listed out the items, cross-referenced the pawn receipts, and started mapping out how long this had probably been going on. When we were done, I walked back to my car and just sat there for a second. The whole thing felt gross. Not even because of the theft. That was bad, obviously. But what really got me was the stuff they took. They weren't just stealing gadgets and tools. They were taking pieces of Elise, of the boys' memories, of things I'd forgotten we even had, until they vanished. That night, I didn't say anything to the family. I didn't confront them. I didn't give them the satisfaction of knowing I knew. I just came in, nodded to Travis, who was shoveling cereal into his mouth like nothing happened, and went to my room with the boys. Micah asked if we could go visit Nana sometime soon, Elise's mom. I said, how about this weekend? He lit up. Can we sleep over? I said, even better. You'll stay for a few days. He and Dylan cheered like I just told them we were flying to space. And yeah, it hurt a little that they were that excited to get out of the house, but I was also relieved they'd be safe there. I didn't want them around when the legal stuff dropped. I called Nana that night. She was happy to have them. She always had a soft spot for the boys, especially after Elise passed. She said she'd make Dylan's favorite pancakes and let Micah feed the neighbors' chickens again. I told her I'd drop them off Friday morning. She didn't ask questions, but I think she knew it was serious. Sarah texted me later that night. Said she'd start drafting the legal complaint for theft alongside the eviction paperwork. I told her to add Travis, Russell, and Marianne's names. All of them were involved. All of them were going to be held responsible. We were done playing family. I printed out copies of every photo, every receipt, every item listing. Made a backup on a flash drive. I wasn't going to let any of them play dumb when the papers got served. Not this time. The next morning, I called off work for Friday. I wanted to personally take the boys to Nana's and then walk straight into the courthouse. No delay. No more waiting for them to do the right thing. They had their chance. They used it to sell my wife's memories for Travis's fake company. Now it's my turn. Friday morning, I packed the boys' overnight bags quietly while they were still asleep. A couple hoodies, pajamas, their favorite snacks, Micah's plush dragon, Dylan's sketchbook. I didn't tell them everything, just that they were going to stay with Nana for a few days so I could handle some grown-up stuff at the house. Micah was all for it. He loves that backyard chicken chaos. Dylan gave me a longer look but didn't press. Smart kid. Probably figured it wasn't a normal weekend trip. I dropped them off around 9 a.m. Elise's mom, Linda, was waiting at the door in slippers and a big sweater, already holding a plate of cookies. She gave me a tight hug, said, "Handle what you need to. I've got them." I nodded and left without explaining. I could feel her watching from the porch as I drove off. By 9:30, I was at the courthouse with Sarah, filing paperwork for both the eviction and the theft. We had everything: receipts, photos from the storage unit, screenshots of listings, and even proof from the pawn shop that my ID was never used. Sarah was all business. She walked the clerk through each page like she was reciting a grocery list. Once it was submitted, she handed me 2 thick envelopes. "Serve them today," she said, "and be prepared. They're going to throw a fit." Sarah pulled strings to expedite it. Knowing the judge didn't hurt, honestly, watching her tear through the clerk's questions like she owned the place, terrifying in the best way. I got home around noon. House was weirdly quiet. No cartoons, no noise from Logan's tablet. I walked in through the garage, went to the kitchen, and sure enough, everyone was there like it was a Sunday brunch. Russell sat at the table reading a newspaper like he didn't have a pending lawsuit. Marianne was folding laundry on the couch, humming. Travis stood in front of the microwave waiting on something like it was any other day. I didn't say anything right away, just took the 2 envelopes out of my bag and set them on the table, one in front of Russell, the other in front of Travis. Russell glanced at it, then looked at me. "What's this?" "Eviction notice and lawsuit," I said. "You've all got 7 days left. The rest is in there." Travis didn't open his, just stared at the paper like it was written in another language. Marianne walked over, picked it up, started flipping through it, and then looked at me like I'd just punched her in the stomach. "You're suing us?" she asked, voice already cracking. "For theft," I said. "Because you stole from me." Russell stood up, the chair scraping across the floor hard. "How could you do this to your own family?" I laughed once, dry. "You sold my dead wife's things. You sold my son's belongings. And you're asking me how I could do this? That wasn't theft, Marianne snapped. We were helping Travis get on his feet. He's trying to build something. It's not like we made money off it. You pawned my camera, I shot back. You hid Micah's tablet. You moved my kids into the basement so Logan could have a better space. None of you cared how we felt living under your garbage. Travis finally spoke, real low. I was gonna pay it back. When? I asked. After your fake company took off? After your fifth failed hustle? He didn't answer. Just looked down at the tile like it might start talking instead. Russell stepped in again, all stern-faced like he was the victim here. We raised you. We gave you everything growing up. And now you throw us out? Over some junk? I scoffed. Raised me? You barely noticed me unless Travis needed an alibi. I took a step forward. And that junk was my wife's. That junk was our memories. You didn't just take stuff. You picked through our life and decided what was worth money. You used this house like a flea market and didn't even have the decency to ask. Marianne's eyes filled with tears. We didn't think it would go this far. We thought you'd understand. We're family, Alec. No, I said, steady. Family doesn't lie. Family doesn't steal. Family doesn't make my kids feel like second-class citizens in their own home. They all just stood there. For a moment, nobody moved. Then Russell slammed his hand on the table. We're not leaving. I pulled out my phone. Then I'll have the sheriff escort you out on day 7. It's all legal now. You'd really embarrass us like that? Marianne whispered. I looked her in the eye. You embarrassed yourselves the second you started acting like this place belonged to you. She sat down, shaking her head. This is unreal. Travis finally opened the envelope, flipped through a few pages, then set it down. I get it, he said quietly. You're mad, but maybe we can talk it out. No lawyers. I gave him a look. You think I'm gonna sit down and reason with the guy who used my kid's birthday gift money to buy his stupid business cards? He opened his mouth, then closed it. I grabbed my keys. You've got 6 days. Make use of them. As I turned to leave, Russell said one more thing. Family's supposed to forgive, but you're always ready to throw people away the second you're uncomfortable. I turned back and said, calm as ever. No one's getting thrown away. You made your choices. I'm just done cleaning up after them. Then I walked out, got in my truck, sat there for a few seconds and let the silence hit. It wasn't satisfying. Not yet, but it was a start. The house wasn't mine again. Not yet, but it would be. And next time I came back, it'd be with empty bedrooms. Day 7 rolled around, and the house was quiet, but not peaceful, more like a pressure cooker that hadn't exploded yet. I pulled into the driveway just after 8 a.m., with the eviction and lawsuit copies tucked into my bag, and Sarah on standby if they tried to drag this out. The kids were still at Linda's, Elise's mom, and staying there a few more days, just until I scrubbed the energy out of this place. When I walked in, nobody said anything. Marianne was sitting on the couch, clutching a coffee cup with both hands like it was keeping her from falling apart. Travis was pacing near the front door. Russell sat at the table, staring at a stack of mail, acting like none of this was happening. The suitcases were still upstairs, not packed. The garage was untouched. My first thought was, they're not leaving. I dropped my keys on the counter. You've got till noon. After that, I call the sheriff. Russell finally looked up. You're really going through with this? I did already, I said. This is just the part where you actually leave. Marianne stood up, voice shaky. We didn't even get time to prepare. We've been trying, but everything's just happened so fast. I tilted my head. You had 7 days, plus the 2 years before that. What part exactly caught you off guard? She blinked like I slapped her. Russell stood up and raised his voice. You're taking this too far. A lawsuit? Really? Over some old junk and a misunderstanding. I walked right up to the table and set down the copy of the theft complaint. That junk? Wasn't yours? You sold my kids' things? You sold Elise's stuff. And you thought you'd never get caught. So yeah, a lawsuit. Travis came over, arms out like he was going to reason with me. I told you I was going to pay it back. I had a plan. Where's the money? I asked. He opened his mouth and closed it again. That's what I thought. Marianne tried again, getting loud now. This is cruel. We're your family, Alec. We made mistakes, but you don't throw your own blood out in the street like trash. You threw yourselves out, I said. When you started treating this house like a business. When you made my sons feel like guests in their own rooms. Russell slammed his hand on the table. You're heartless. This isn't how we raised you. You didn't raise me to be a doormat either. They didn't respond. I stood there a second, waiting, but nobody moved. So I pulled out my phone. I'm calling Sarah. That got them moving. Marianne ran upstairs, muttering to herself. Travis went to the garage, slamming doors along the way. Russell stayed still for a minute, then kicked his chair backward and stormed down the hall. By 10 a.m., the house looked like a storm hit it. Suitcases everywhere, trash bags, half-open boxes. You'd think they were being dragged out at gunpoint the way they acted, but nobody said another word to me. Until I walked out front to toss some of their junk in the driveway. Marianne followed me out, sobbing now. Please, Alec, don't do this. We don't have anywhere to go. We made mistakes, but we're still your parents. I didn't answer. I just went back in and started opening windows. The house reeked of their energy. I wanted it gone. A little after noon, a car pulled up. A friend of Travis's. He started loading stuff without making eye contact. Russell didn't speak again, just kept shooting me looks like I ruined his life. By 2 p.m., they were gone. No apology, no accountability, just bags, attitude, and the expectation that I'd change my mind last second. I didn't. The minute the door shut, I locked it. Then I walked into every room they used, one by one, and opened all the windows. I didn't touch their trash. Just let the air shift. Let the house breathe again. It was around 6 p.m. when it started. Travis texted first. Hey man, look, this was all just miscommunication. We shouldn't have sold stuff, but suing is too far. Let's talk. Don't let lawyers ruin the family. I didn't reply. At 7:15, Marianne called. Left a voicemail crying about how they were staying in a motel and couldn't afford food, how I was destroying the family, and how Elise would be disappointed in me. That one stung, but I still didn't call back. Later that night, Russell emailed me a full letter titled, Let's Rebuild. It was 4 paragraphs of wordy crap about lessons learned, followed by him asking if I could drop the lawsuit and move on. I didn't even read the last sentence. Just forwarded it to Sarah. By Sunday, Sarah called me. They're panicking, she said. I got a voicemail from their new lawyer. Apparently they're trying to settle. Settle how? I asked. They're offering to return anything they still have and write a formal apology. I leaned back in my chair. And the lawsuit? They want you to drop it. I thought about it. Long and hard. Not because I was going to do it, but because I wanted to enjoy how badly they were unraveling. They had years to fix this, I told her. Let them sweat. She laughed. You got it. That night, I picked up the boys. Linda told me they'd been great, helpful, calm, even happier. Said Micah helped cook breakfast, and Dylan helped clean up the shed. She hugged me on the porch and whispered, I'm proud of you. The drive home was quiet. Micah fell asleep in the back. Dylan just stared out the window. When we pulled into the driveway, I asked, You guys ready to move back in? Dylan smiled for the first time in weeks. Yeah, it feels different now. It is, I said. It's ours again. We went inside. No yelling, no tension, just quiet. For the first time in a long time, I sat on the couch and didn't feel the urge to leave. For the first time in years, the silence wasn't heavy. It was ours.